Welcome back to the channel, welcome back. So Jack Catteral versus Harlem Eubank at the AO Arena, Manchester last night. It's a decent card of boxing, I ain't gonna lie. I enjoyed some of the fights that went on before the main event. Now Jack Catteral, he's a guy that's been at the top, he's been a top tier 140-pound fighter. We know he had those battles with Josh Taylor where he was seemingly robbed and should have been crowned the undisputed 140-pound champion. But, he sought out a rematch. Eventually, after a couple of years, he got that rematch. But by the time he got to Josh Taylor had already lost his belts. A few of them to Teofimo Lopez. His lineal status to Teofimo Lopez, even though Jack Catteral should have been the man to take that. He only had a couple of belts left, and I don't even remember what happened there. Teo took the last few belts, and then Jack Catteral got to fight Josh Taylor, and he got nothing but his pride intact, after getting that victory, but no belts. So I felt that Jack Catteral should have gone on a different route. He was the first man to seemingly defeat Josh Taylor, right, a couple of years ago. And a lot of people called out, was like, this man beat Josh Taylor, deserves a rematch. So if Teofimo Lopez was the man to eventually dethrone Taylor as the lineal undisputed 140-pound champion, I'm surely Jack Catteral should have been chasing Teofimo and saying, look, I'm the first man to beat Taylor. Maybe you should fight me, to clear it up. But he never went that route, the previous fight before this one, he fought Arnold Barbosa for an elimination fight. Barbosa outpointed him at the AO Arena again. Jack Catteral's pretty popular in Manchester. He brings a big crowd. He's only from a few miles up the road in Chorley. So he brings a crowd down from Chorley down to the Manchester Arena. And, they support him pretty well. But look, the fight that happened, I felt that Jack Catteral was putting himself out there to be used as a stepping stone for Harlem Eubank. Now, I can see why he took the fight, because the Eubanks are pretty big in the sport of boxing. They probably offered him a decent amount, and, they wanted Harlem to get pushed up there. But I don't know if it's done any good for Harlem or done his reputation any harm, because he looked quite limited out there against Catteral, a seasoned professional. Because Harlem Eubank started boxing at the age of 18. He's got a background in karate. I believe he's a black belt. So, that he's no stranger to combat sports. He can get in there. He can get in there and face his opponent. Also, football was a thing of him. He used to play for Brighton and Hove. And, football sometimes can help with the boxing when it comes to cardio, footwork, stuff like that. And he's put it together, but he still looks a bit twitchy. And not only that, Jack Catteral is a very, very awkward southpaw. And it made him look worse. There's ways of dealing with a southpaw. We've got the straight right hand, the left hook to the body, left hook. Spam the left hook or left to the body, straight right hand combination. Fake the jab, fake the straight right, come with the left, or go straight down the pipe, come with the left. There's many ways to deal with a southpaw. And I didn't see Harlem utilise any of that. Any of the old, tactics that some of the fighters from before have used to circumnavigate a southpaw. Southpaws can be pretty awkward, that. Harlem just looks a bit unfinished, a bit unrefined, a bit rough around the edges, a bit twitchy. Eventually, the fight ended up in the headbutts, a double headbutt between the two guys. I felt like Jack was winning the fight. He was doing a lot of the cleaner work. Harlem did land a few punches, but they were like single shots here and there. He met his target. He had to leap in to get some of those shots off. But I felt like the better work was done by Catteral. And eventually, after the clash of heads, and they had two gaping cuts, I believe it was around the 7th round, the referee, I think Catteral was asked if he could continue. He said yes, he would continue, showing a bit of warrior spirit there. He would continue the fight. And I believe the doctor called the fight off. And it went to scorecards after, I believe, 7 rounds. And it was, I believe, a unanimous decision where Jack Catteral took the win. And he now, I believe there's an interim belt that was involved. So Jack Catteral once again becomes an interim champion. And Harlem Eubank in his post-fight interview was in true Eubank style when he said, you know, the fight was stopped early and he felt like he was just getting into his groove, and, you know, the doctor saved Jack Catteral from getting knocked out. He felt like he would have stopped Catteral at some point. I don't know about that, to be honest. I don't know. I think that's just the Eubank way. But anyway, enough said. Look, it's a good fight. We're looking forward to some more fights coming up. Big fights coming up next week and in a few weeks to come. So do us a favour, stay locked to the channel, smash the like button, hit that bell for notifications to get all the new and latest videos. Welcome back.